Hello everybody, it's Ellen here at Yarn Dock in my new space. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but I'm just getting settled in and yeah, with a new look. The yarn's not the only thing hand-dyed around here anymore. Okay, I'm cracking myself up. But I'm here to do a yarn review. I was shopping on Temu, as happens from time to time, especially if we're, on a budget. Happens. And are they really what they say they are? Are they a bargain or still a waste of money? So I'm looking at a baby alpaca. And Can you hear that? Alpaca doesn't make that noise. right off, I'm not expecting this to go well. Okay, first feel and I'm going, I don't think there's any alpaca in here, and they're claiming it's 95% alpaca, 5% acrylic. If this is alpaca, it's the alpaca that grows Red Heart Super Saver. Yeah, that's because it's kind of got that feel. It's a bit squishier than that, but it's got that kind of plasticky grab. I have real trouble believing that there's any alpaca. Okay, I'm starting off very negative. I'll do a test. It's telling me it's Peruvian alpaca. It's, yeah, saying that's what it is. So we will see. It came as a 5-pack like this. Nothing on the bag, but it does, these ones do come with a ball sleeve. Fell over. So I'm apparently as klutzy in the new space as I was in the old space. It's saying it's 100 grams. I will weigh it. I just realized that my scale hasn't moved from the old space to the new space. So I'll do it when I do, when I have some samples worked up and we do that, which will be about 4.5 seconds for you. I love YouTube. Yeah, it says aminal moisture regain 15%. I've seen a lot of things on yarn over the years. I have never seen that before. I don't know what it means. If you do, let us know, but hopefully it's good. I really don't know. It says 150 meters, 164 yards, recommending a 4 or a 5 millimeter crochet hook and 4.5 to 5 millimeter stick needles. Knitting needles, I think, is the idea here. I can't tell you whether it has a dye lot because it says color number and lot number, and it's one number that's written between the two. So that I really don't know. Do not bleach. I don't think you would want to bleach this color. And actually, it is quite a pretty colorway. It's got, it's sort of it's almost a combination of red and hot pink. And then it's also got these like purple, they're not really flecks, but it's almost like there's some purple thread woven in. Yeah, it is actually quite pretty, the color. And I like to get these bright, vivid colors so that when I throw it in the washer and dryer, we can see about color retention and fade and stuff like that. Speaking of the washer and dryer, I can tell you that it's telling me to lie flat because I know that symbol, but these are all, I'm not sure what language this is. I'm wondering if it's Polish or Turkish. Really not sure. The rest of it is in English, but the washing instructions are in a language that I am unfamiliar with. It is saying that you can use the iron with it. I'm going to washer and dryer it and see what happens. Because I'm like that, no matter what they tell me. It says it will keep you warm against the cold. So I guess they're suggesting that you use it for clothing, garments and whatnot, maybe hats and scarves or something. I would say that is a very big 4, fat 4, or a thin 5, but probably I'd say a fat 4. Fat 4. These, yeah, a generous worsted. Generous worsted. Okay, I'm going to work with it. I will be back to you in... Okay, so many thoughts already. Wow, it had a lot of yarn barf in it. It was almost like there was a hank inside of the skein. So I that's kind of what I'm working with right now to give you an idea. And yeah, that was the end as I found it. It hasn't sort of unraveled anymore. But here I am, barely into this first granny square with a great big old factory knot. So, yeah. Yeah, so soldering on here. Okay, y'all, I was going to show you this when I showed you the worked up samples, but I do have another knot, factory knot, but it's one of these that is not for the whole piece of yarn, but just part of the yarn. I don't know if you can see it very well. Let's see. So yeah, only part of it has come in here. And normally, if I was making this for something other than a sample, I would cut the yarn on both sides, put my own knot in, weave those ends in. Because it's a sample just to go in the washer and dryer and see what happens, I left it. And I also left it to show you. But as I'm stitching around here, I realized that is just about to get hidden under a cluster stitch. So I did want to just show you that, okay, still in the first ball, I've got another one. And actually, these bother me more than the whole cut of yarn, because you can miss them or not. And since I've got you, I might as well show you here. This was how the yarn came out of the skein. It's just totally fuzzed there. It was almost like it had gotten touched with a piece of Velcro. You know how something, when it gets stuck to Velcro and then you pull it off, it's like it totally lost any of its structure. That was a length about this long. It's worked into, there's actually 2 or 3 stitches there that have it, but that's where you can see it the most. Yeah. So there are some flaws in this yarn. And one more knot that almost snuck past me here. But definitely is a knot in there. So, yeah, we're not doing so well with the quality control on this particular skein. I don't know if they're all like that, but the chances that I picked the one random skein that is so messed up is, I think, slim to none. Okay, so I literally, that last knot is in this, no, this bobble right here. This bobble right here. And here's another one. And again, it's one of these only partial knots. So you could just miss feeling it on your finger or think it's just an imperfection in the yarn. Especially because this supposedly has animal fiber in it. And there are sometimes inclusions in those kinds of yarn. And you just wouldn't even maybe think about it. But yeah, I'm frustrated because actually the granny squares were not the best example of the yarn worked up, but now that I'm crocheting in rows using various kinds of stitches, it is really nice to work with. It's actually a nice yarn to work with. It feels better in this sort of more dense fabric, and it's smooth on the needles. It doesn't split at all. It's got incredible stretch, which was making me think it might actually be a good amigurumi yarn. But just the quality of it is, oh, sorry, frustrated. Okay, so I've worked with this a little bit. I made some sample grannies here. You can see the stitch definition is not great. I used an 8mm hook, which for me seemed like the right size for this. It has made giant grannies, and I was thinking originally this was a size, was a 4 weight. I think it is closer to a 5. I mean, we do actually have some decent information on the ball bands here, but nothing about what weight they classify it. So I think it's because it's supposed to be 100 grams and it had 150 meters. I was thinking it was closer to a 4 weight, but I don't know, working with it and the way it felt more like a 5, and I needed more like 5 size needles. Okay, so that one's only 82. Get these out of the way. 84. 91. And 83. So once again, the Temu yarn is coming in lighter than advertised. This seems to be a theme that we're seeing. And so I'm going to go ahead and measure these so that we know what they are before they go in the washer and dryer. So 12, they should all be the same. 12, 12. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll keep one. I'll put one in the washer. I'll put one in the washer and dryer. And we'll see how it holds up, what happens to it. And so this is just a little stitch sampler. Again, I start with singles, go to half doubles. Then I did another row of singles, put the bobbles in, put another row of singles, trebles, and singles. So let's see how it frogs. Doing pretty well so far. Here we go, here we go. And let's get the bobbles. That was me just losing my grip. That wasn't a problem with frogging the yarn. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, no problems. It's like as soon as you say that on anyone's review, it's like you jinx the yarn. I notice that when I watch others. And yeah. So in it, when we talked about it before, is there is this, it's not even really a strand. It's almost like a fuzz that has sort of been worked over the strand of yarn. And that's what's caught there. And yeah, no amount of pulling is going to. And this is, you know, I'm not frogging immediately after doing it. It's not like I was working along, saw a mistake, frogged it, and went forward. This has sat for more than 24 hours. Nope. No, it was just that for, I mean, as you saw when I was working with it, I did have a lot of issues. Yeah, it's, yeah, I'm just going to cut that. And use it for the burn test. But the other thing I want to say is this color is named Tomato, and there's no red in it. I mean, I've never seen a tomato this color. If I did, I wouldn't eat it. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say there's no red. There is a very sort of pinky red that's woven into the predominantly hot pink color. And then some purple. So don't go by the name, go by the picture. The picture looks a lot closer to the color than the name. If you were thinking, oh, tomato, that'll be a nice red, it won't. So I did want to mention that before I signed off on this. Okay, I'm going to go wash one, dry one, and burn some of this to see. I don't think there's 85% alpaca in here. I don't know that there's any alpaca in here. But let's burn some up and see what we see. So this one I am so skeptical about being 95% alpaca. But what we're looking for is gray smoke. It will be difficult to ignite. It will try to sort of curl away from the flame. It might even self-extinguish. And then it would be black ash that is easy to crush. So I'm going to smell it. That's hard. So there may be some wool in it, but that residue there is acting more like what you would expect from an acrylic or a polyester than you would a natural fiber. Yeah. I think that this shows a synthetic fiber claiming to be alpaca, and it just doesn't seem to have the properties of alpaca to me. So I'm going to call on that one. Okay, so these have now been through the washer and dryer, and you can see that there has been an impact of particularly the dryer. You know, stitch definition is not what it used to be, and the size is clearly not what it used to be. I'll remind you here using this one that it was 12 centimeters, and after the washer alone we're looking at 11 centimeters. And after the dryer, we're looking at about 11 centimeters. So it's clear that this is smaller than this. Yeah, you can see you've got a whole line. These are right on. But a whole sort of chain around that. Now with some blocking, you wouldn't notice that. But this ruler is perhaps not precise enough to, yeah, see, we're a little more then. Okay, so these still look pretty close, even with the measuring being a little bit different. I mean, you've got a little bit of shrinkage just from the washer. And I did wash these on 30 degrees, so a gentle cycle. I would be tempted to throw it washer dryer. I guess it depends on what you make with it. Whether the puffier stitch matters, whether a little bit of shrinkage would matter. It's really going to depend on what you've made. If you've made a scarf where it doesn't sort of matter whether it shrinks or that, then I personally would be tempted to go washer and dryer. If your stitch definition is going to matter, then the dryer is probably not the place for it. If the fit is going to matter, you know, if you're making sort of a fitted sweater where a little bit of shrinkage is going to affect the fit, then the dryer is obviously not the place for it. So, those are the results. We'll discuss it a little more in a minute here. So, I matched this one for the end here. Baby alpaca. Oh, baby alpaca. It's not my favorite. I think this was the best part of this yarn is the washer dryer. It is pretty much the same as it was when it came off the hook. That is a big plus for a lot of reasons. But there are other yarns that probably are the same material as this that you can get for reasonable prices that you can also put in the washer and dryer, and that are color fast. It's certainly not the worst yarn I've ever held. It's certainly not the worst yarn I have ever worked with. It's certainly usable. I don't think, I just think there's a lot more acrylic in it than they're saying. I personally will not purchase this again. I'm at the point in my crochet journey where when I'm not doing a review, I only work with yarns I like. And this one was okay. It was usable in that, but it wasn't one I like. I was not looking forward to working on it. Unlike one I was working on at the same time for another review that I didn't want to stop my granny square when it was time to stop the granny square. This one I was quite happy to be done. Throw it in the washer, see what happened. Not caring if it did not survive. So that right there tells me how I feel about the yarn. But everybody has different needs, different goals for the yarn that they're purchasing. And so this might be exactly what it is you need. So all I've done is tried to give you the information, show you what it's like to wash, what it looks like worked up, tell you a little bit about my experience working with it, and then you can make your own decisions and judgments on it. Personally, this is not a repurchase yarn for me, but I hope that I was able to take away a little bit of the Temu mystery behind it. So if you've sat here this long, you might as well subscribe and check out some other reviews. Maybe you'll even come across a yarn I do like and can highly recommend. Go ahead and like the video. If you have any comments or any thoughts of your own, particularly if you have used it and maybe had a different experience than I did, that can be very helpful to others as well. So please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next review. So I just said I would see you in the next review, and I finished this, and here I am with the next review. I said I wouldn't repurchase this yarn. I repurchased this yarn, totally unbeknownst to me. I thought I was buying yak wool. These are the same yarn. They are identical. The identical weight, the identical colorway. They feel the same. They work on my hook the same. They have the same needle or hook recommendations. These are the same yarn. And I am now convinced it is just a value acrylic dressing itself up as other fancier fibers. I don't like being lied to, and that's what this yarn is. This yarn is just a liar, and I would personally, for that reason alone, say don't buy it. I now unfortunately have 9 skeins of this, and you saw how keen I was on it just a few seconds ago, but now that I know that it's just masquerading around Temu as various types of yarn, and I also can't return it because of the way in which I bought it. I will contact Temu customer service because that I have had positive experience with, and report this nonsense to them. But I think it's going to end up donated to my son's school for their various craft projects, and that they actually do have a very cool after-school program where the children get to learn fiber arts, whether it's knitting or crochet or all kinds of things. But that's something different. But I do like to see that we're passing on this skill, this craft to the next generation. I don't know that this is the best stuff to start them on, though. Anyway, that's the epilogue to this review. Did I ever think I'd have an epilogue to a review? No, but there you go. Yak and alpaca.